Hello, this is Dr. Kirkendall, and this is part 2 of the anxiety and depression course. And today we're going to talk to you about the toxicity aspect. Remember, I said there's biochemical, toxicity, emotion, and structure. So this is toxicity. Now I'm going to break it down here, and I'm going to look at my notes as we communicate. But the first part of the toxicity aspect is metals. So metals come from many things in our environment, from the cadmium, from smoking. Actually, tobacco actually pulls and chelates cadmium out of the earth. And so when you smoke it and breathe it directly into your lungs, it goes in your bloodstream, and this is where cadmium can build up. Or you can get molybdenum imbalances, or any type of metal can be built up. And it's important that we identify that. And the way that we do that when you work with me is looking at a company called Diagnostics. And what we're looking at is how to identify what the metals overwhelming the body are. We can also often, if need be, use chelation to pull a little bit out to see a pre and post. But that's a really first important component. The second part of this whole toxicity component is looking at the chemicals in your life. These are the xenohormones. Now, xenohormones are synthetically made hormones, and they're often found in things like soaps and other types of things that have a smell to it. So your laundry detergent, your dish soap, your soap that you're bathing your body in. The soap also you want to be aware of sodium lauryl sulfate, which is a foaming agent, which essentially comes from all of the wars that we're fighting, where we're fighting over oil. These oils are taken out of the earth and essentially distilled down and put into beauty products, and you put them on your body, and this causes a lot of health issues. So you want to be aware of the toxic chemicals in and around your house, your body, what you're putting on your skin. So we'll look at that and identify that in great detail when we're dealing with some sort of chronic or mysterious illness, or if you're just generally not feeling well. So we want to look at that. Now, going back to xenohormones are things that smell. They like Febreze, Glade plugins, those little things that when you go to the bathroom in commercial buildings and they have this, that's a chemical. That's not mountain breeze freshness that you're breathing. You're actually breathing this chemical into your lungs and directly in your bloodstream. So be aware of this and start to reduce this in your experience, in your environment. Throw this stuff out. Get it out of your car, those little plugins that you have on your air conditioning system or in your car, the little tree that hangs in the taxi cab. These are chemicals, and they will make your body sick. They are hormones. They disrupt your own body's hormones. So this is the really important part. So the third part of the toxicity component we always want to rule out is infection. So in working with me, if you're not in person, because I do a lot of work with what's called applied kinesiology, where we can be extremely direct and precise around what kind of infections are going on. But if you're working with me remotely all around the world, I use certain types of tests. There's one really great test out there called the GI map. And what the GI map allows you to do is identify using PCR testing what kinds of infections and imbalances you have in the body. Now, PCR stands for polymerase chain reaction, and that's essentially the same kind of thing that we use at crime scenes, where there's been a murder and somebody left a hair follicle, or somebody left some sweat or a fingernail. And if they leave any of that information, that genetic material's in there, and because of that, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to identify the murder, the person that was at the scene of the murder. And what we're looking for is parasites, we're looking for bacteria, we're looking at yeast and funguses, and we're very specifically asking for what is going on for you in your body, because if we don't properly identify, and we use an outdated methodology that so many doctors are using, they're using basically plain film methodologies to look at infection, where you basically have a stool sample, you send it in a laboratory, some poor sad person opens that box up on Monday, puts that stool that you sent into the box under a slide, and they sit there and they try to find infection. And that's like finding a needle in a haystack. Using genomic testing is a far superior way to not miss a single thing in there. So that's really huge. Now, number 4 of toxicity, right? So we've got metals, chemicals, infections, and now electromagnetic fields. Now, this wasn't such a big deal before the 90s. I mean, the 80s, I mean, we just didn't have these frequencies in the 80s, the 70s, and on back. This is why infection or so many health issues have gone skyrocketed, is because we have more xenohormones, we have more chemicals in all of our clothing and all of this stuff, and more of the makeups and stuff. We have more electromagnetic fields. So we must understand that we are an electrical system. Our sinoatrial and atrioventricular node of our heart beats all day long, just like this, just a pacemaker. And it's an electrical current set up by sodium-potassium pump that you learned about in basic biology and physiology. So if that is disrupted, and the jury's out, this isn't about, whether it is or it isn't, but the Wi-Fi that I have hooked up in my living room, if I use a special meter, which I don't have sitting here with me at the moment, but if I use a meter, I can actually measure it and show it. And I've made other videos that talk about electromagnetic fields. But these fields have an effect on the human body, and just like a whistle, right? That only a dog can hear. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist because you don't hear it. That would be like saying a microwave or a magnetic resonance imaging system or an X-ray, where you go and get a chest X-ray, doesn't exist. You don't see it, it's not there, but it has an effect. It gives us a great understanding of what's going on with your chest or your spine, or it'll heat your burrito. But also, you are water, just like that burrito. And if you're exposed constantly to microwave frequencies, electromagnetic fields, cell phone towers, smart meters, PlayStations, and video gaming system, which are really powerful that your kids are sleeping by, your Wi-Fi router near your bedroom or your house, these things are cumulative. Bluetooth headsets, Bluetooth Bose headsets, Bluetooth, speaker systems for your living room. The more and more we're exposed to, there's absolutely, unequivocally, the science is showing it, that there is an effect. But whether you believe that or not, if you're struggling with any type of chronic health issue, what we really want to do is reduce. We really want to reduce, and we want to reduce the amount of metals, the amount of chemicals, the amount of infection, and the amount of electromagnetic fields. And so that's video number 2. That's the toxicity piece, that if you really go through and check off those boxes, you're really going to be doing yourself a great service and helping you and your doctor help you heal in a much more faster and awesome, beautiful, effortless way. I'll see you in the next video.